Hello, callsign Latrope here, and I have another dogfight review for you. This time we have WrngWay and his F6F going up against a KI-84, so let's get right to it. Here we have first contact with the enemy, and where we get our first bits of information to start planning what to do. First thing we need to know is the strengths and weaknesses of both aircraft. This matchup is a little lopsided against you in this fight. The KI-84 has a much better climb rate at most altitudes. It's also faster than the F6F and can accelerate and gain speed back more quickly than you can. Both planes are excellent turn fighters, but the KI-84 is just slightly more maneuverable than the F6F. Both planes, again, have very good flaps to help in a turn fight. You can deploy your flaps at a much higher speed than the KI-84, but I'm going to have to give this advantage to the KI-84. Reason being that flaps bleed speed, and that's something the F6F can't gain back quickly. On top of that, the KI-84 is more maneuverable, and his flaps deploy very quickly once he gets slow enough to use them. It's not all bad news though, as you do have some advantages to use. Your F6F can outdive the KI-84, and you also have superior high-speed handling. While both planes are quite durable, in my experience an F6F can take more punishment than a KI-84, so you can get away with taking a few risks. Now back to the fight. You have a set of B-17s below you. A common mistake that pilots tend to make that you do here is going after the bombers. I know they're a nice big juicy target and you're in a perfect position to attack them. I myself would find it very tempting to shoot the bombers as well. But the KI-84 is a big threat. He's likely climbing to your altitude to kill you, and you don't really want him to get co-alt with you. The sooner you engage the KI, the better a position you'll be in. That being said, you can probably get away with making one pass on the B-17s and still being in a decent position to deal with the KI afterwards. As for your approach on the B-17s, it's nearly perfect except that it's too shallow and too far to his 6. You want to hit him from directly above as you have the biggest possible target to shoot at, and then you can blow right on by with lots of speed and get out of his gun range. Now right here we can see the KI is in fact targeting us. This is where you want to focus on the KI-84. Zoom climb back to altitude and stay above the KI. You however still seem to want to focus on the B-17s. You want to target the KI-84 as he is now targeting you and is an immediate threat. Now that you see the KI at 2K away and closing, you finally focus on him. Not targeting him earlier has put you in a less than desirable position than you could have been in. You do merge nicely though, turning into the KI and creating some separation to work with by dropping below him. Now this is important. The KI-84 is telling us a lot about himself right here. He decided to take the shot on the merge and missed badly. Then he goes into a flat turn instead of using a superior climb rate against you. This lets us know the KI-84 pilot probably isn't very skilled, and this will help us win the fight. Now right here you cut your throttle, maybe to try and cut the corner. That's not exactly how it works though. All this does is bleed precious airspeed that you need. You should have stayed full throttle here to keep your speed. You do avoid the shot nicely though, and time your reversal perfectly. This here is a perfect moment to use some vertical elements and throttle work to get onto the KI-84's tail. We already know this guy isn't very skilled and has only used flat turns so far. What we want to do is pull up into the vertical and into the KI-84 and possibly drop a notch or two of flaps. As we go vertical, we want to cut throttle a little. This will bleed speed but will help drop our nose quicker as well. It is very likely the KI-84 will do a flat turn below us. Cutting the throttle drops our nose quicker, and this will allow us to get a shot. Even if you miss the shot, it's very likely the KI-84 pilot will panic and make a mistake, which will allow you to easily gain his 6 o'clock. You try to pull into the KI, but he has better positioning, and this allows him to get inside your turn for a shot. You do see this coming though and avoid the shot at the last second. Now this is a very well executed defensive barrel roll. You avoid the shot, roll over the top, use flaps and throttle work, but just don't line up the shot well. You do the right thing though by staying aggressive and turning into the KI to stay on his 6. Now you cut your throttle again when you should be staying full throttle. This is going to waste precious speed. You also don't create enough vertical and horizontal separation from the KI and give him a very easy shot. But luckily the KI isn't that great of a shot. You pull a nice turn into the KI here and you have a few options to choose from, like a barrel roll defense, or as you do, go for the hoe shot. This isn't a bad idea since your opponent doesn't have great gunnery, but you also miss your shot as well. Again, a very good turn into the KI and dropping below him to create vertical separation, but again you cut throttle and this gets you in a very bad spot, as the KI is now above you and you have almost no speed. The Ki-84 misses his shot and makes a mistake that will give you a shot, but once again you miss your opportunity. Now you have almost no speed from cutting your throttle so many times, and the KI can boom and zoom you all day long. The KI doesn't realize this though, and you're able to keep somewhat on his tail, but again you use more unnecessary throttle work and waste a little more speed. Now here you reverse your turn, either in response to seeing a 190 or to change the angle on the KI. Either way this could work. It will possibly give the KI a brief snapshot, but we know he's not a very good shot. Your mistake was reversing your turn a second time right in front of the KI. This lets him onto your tail and he finally lands the kill shot on you. What you should have done is a barrel roll defense when you reversed your turn. Pull up and into the Ki-84 to bleed a little speed and get inside its turn. As the Ki-84 overshoots below you, you can use a little rudder and drop down onto his 6 o'clock for a shot, hopefully killing him and allowing you to deal with the 190 one-on-one. Some things you did well are you have pretty good timing. You timed your moves perfectly to avoid a shot or to set yourself up for better positioning to get a shot opportunity. You're also really good at using a barrel roll defense and forcing overshoots. You also appear to have pretty good understanding of ACM and knew for the most part what to do throughout the fight. Some things you can work on is your gunnery. You had a couple of perfect shot opportunities that could have won the fight for you, but you missed the shots. You were too aggressive with the controls and this threw your aim off. I'll put a link in the description that'll take you to RynoRush's gunnery school videos that Voodoo 15 recorded for everyone, so you can take a look at them if you haven't already. As for my thoughts on gunnery, I think playing some shooter games can help you out. It doesn't have to be games as extreme and fast-paced as Call of Duty or Battlefield. A simple flash game would work too. The trick that I've picked up on thanks to shooter games is to train your eyes and brain to focus on 2 points of interest, your sights and your enemy. You don't want to just focus on one or the other and try to point your sights at the enemy. You want to see both at the same time and kind of just line the two up. In Aces High, I focus on my gun sight and my opponent's flight path. I ignore everything else and just look at these 2 points. I predict where my opponent will be flying to. Not really aim my gun sight so much as I kind of line it up with their likely flight path and pull the trigger and let them fly through the bullets. Something else I noticed was you tend to use too much rudder. Rudder input bleeds way more speed than ailerons, elevators, and even flaps. You want to be gentle with the rudder to save speed unless you're pulling some kind of extreme stall maneuver. You're also using flaps a lot, and a lot of times you didn't really need them or you dropped more notches than you needed. Remember, flaps help you turn tighter, but they bleed speed, so only use them when you really need them. You can also practice a little more on creating vertical and horizontal separation. Sometimes you were spot on, but other times you didn't create enough separation and it got you into trouble. Again, I'll link a thread in the description that talks about creating separation. And that's the end of this review. If anyone wants me to review one of your fights, then you can send the film to my email. Details are in the description. I hope this review was helpful to you, and I'll see you in game.